In a formal address before the House of Representatives on Wednesday, Democratic Representative Julie Johnson of Texas issued strong criticism of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem over the federal government's handling of the recent flooding crisis in Texas. Johnson's remarks come amid growing concerns over the adequacy of federal disaster response efforts and the timely delivery of aid to affected communities. Watch until the end to get the main details and click the subscribe button and activate the bell so you don't miss the latest reports.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 5 minutes and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today with a heavy heart to mourn the loss of so many lives across Texas. We lost the hope of our future, so many children, so many beautiful girls who just went to camp to have a good time, to bond with their friends, and to have that time that we all cherish from our memory and our own childhood. And too many lives have been lost, and we have the responsibility as members of government to have a look at why, what happened, what could we do better, and how can we make sure that things like this never, ever, ever happen again. What we know, unfortunately, is that partisan politics had a role. Republicans have historically denied the ongoing effects of climate change and what is happening in our country. Over the last decade, we've had more and more intense storms, unexpected, throughout the entire country, but surely in Texas. We've had freezes that have killed hundreds of people, and now we had a 1 in 100-year catastrophic rainstorm that produced horrific floods and tragic loss of life. And what happened in this policy is that Republicans at every level of government in our state failed the people of Texas. At the local level, they refused to have support grants from the Biden administration that would have put in place critical sirens and warning equipment that would have warned these kids at this camp to get out and flee and seek higher ground. What we know is that communities that accepted these resources, they all survived. The warnings worked. This community didn't want to accept help from a Democrat. And now we have hundreds of people that are dead. Requests were made from the state to help, ultimately, and our governor denied requests 3 times for over $1 million each time that would have again tried to provide warning equipment, again failing. And now what we have in our federal government is FEMA. FEMA is designed to be there as a last resort for communities when these unimaginable tragedies strike. FEMA trains and provides our first responders, the first line of defense, the people that go in and risk their lives at a time when it is most dangerous. And they can't do it alone, and FEMA provides critical training, resources, and supplementation. FEMA is designed to have immediate response within a minimum of 15 hours. But under President Trump and his canceling of FEMA, defunding FEMA, firing FEMA employees, terminating hundreds of FEMA employees, it was over 72 hours before critical resources were brought into Texas. 72 hours is critical when you're floating in a river and you need help. 72 hours makes the difference between life and death in these situations. And Trump and our federal government failed. After Katrina, we saw how inadequate FEMA can be sometimes. We saw the disaster of government when it didn't work. And Congress put in place some measures to repeal and increase FEMA. One of those was you have to hire an experienced administrator at FEMA, somebody who knows what they're doing, because this isn't a time to play around. And this administration hired as the director of FEMA somebody that never even knew whether or not a hurricane season existed. Somebody who has no experience in this area. And then with our Homeland Security and Secretary Noem, she put in place measures, cost-cutting measures that catastrophically impacted what the response was in this situation. Phone calls were never answered. The day after this flood happened, she canceled the contracts of the people that answer the phone when you call for help. That is not the response that this government needs, and we have to do better. So I'm calling upon my Republican colleagues. I'm calling upon everyone in this
As the
Congress
debate over federal disaster response continues, attention remains on how government agencies are working to support recovery efforts in Texas. Representative Johnson's remarks have added urgency to the national conversation. What do you think of the government's response to natural disasters? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates and in-depth coverage of the news that matters to you.